The rain had been falling all evening. The kind of rain that made the world feel heavier. The diner windows were streaked with water, and the neon sign outside buzzed softly, casting pink and blue light over empty tables. Inside, the smell of coffee and pie lingered in the air. Maria wiped down the counter for the third time that night. It was slow, too slow, the kind of slow where tips barely paid for the bus ride home. She checked her phone, a text from her sister. Mom's meds are almost out. Can you send money? Asterisk. Maria sighed. She had $20 left to her name. The door opened. A man walked in, hood pulled up, shaking rain off his jacket. He carried himself with quiet calm, like someone used to moving through storms. Maria grabbed a menu, forcing a smile. Evening, just one. He nodded. Yes, thank you. His voice was soft, familiar somehow, but Maria couldn't place it. He sat by the window, the rain behind him blurring the world outside like a painting melting in the dark. Maria poured him coffee. Long day. The man smiled faintly. You could say that. Something about his eyes made her pause. They carried weight. The kind of weight people get when they've seen too much and learned to love anyway. She tried to shake the feeling off. Well, pie special tonight is apple. Fresh. Apple sounds perfect, he said. She scribbled the order, then watched him as she walked away. He looked peaceful, not like most customers at this hour. No rush, no phone, just sitting there, hands around the warm cup like it was the only thing keeping him here. At the counter, her coworker leaned in. Hey, you know who that is? Maria frowned. What do you mean? That's Jonathan Roumie, the actor, the guy who plays Jesus in that show, The Chosen. Maria blinked. She'd seen ads for it online. People raving about it. She never had time for TV. Are you sure? Her coworker nodded. Positive. My mom's obsessed with him. Maria glanced back at the man. Jonathan Roumie, playing Jesus, now sitting in her diner on a rainy Tuesday night while her life quietly fell apart. Weird world. She brought his pie over. Here you go, apple, as promised. Jonathan smiled, warm and genuine. Thank you, Maria. She froze. How do you know my name? He nodded toward her apron. Name tag. Oh, right. She felt ridiculous. Jonathan took a bite, then looked out the window for a long moment. Do you ever feel, he said slowly, like life piles things on you all at once? Maria almost laughed. Every day. He studied her face. And yet, here you are. Smiling at strangers. Serving pie. Carrying more than anyone knows. His words hit harder than she expected. She busied herself refilling his coffee. Just part of the job. But inside, her chest ached. After a while, he asked for the check. She brought it over, tried to smile again, and left it on the table. She didn't see him write anything. Didn't see him fold the bill inside. But when she came back, the seat was empty. And the check had a note on it. She opened it, read the words, and everything inside her broke. Right there in the middle of the empty diner, Maria covered her mouth with her hand as tears fell onto the table. The note was only one sentence. But it was enough to change everything. Maria stood frozen, the note trembling in her hand. The diner felt suddenly too quiet. The rain outside pounded harder against the glass, as if the world knew something had shifted. Her coworker, Lisa, glanced over. Maria, you okay? Maria couldn't speak. Her eyes locked on the words again, her chest tight. Lisa came closer, frowning. What does it say? Maria handed her the note with shaking fingers. Lisa read aloud in a whisper, Jesus hasn't forgotten you. Help is coming. Jonathan. The room spun. Maria grabbed the edge of the counter. She didn't even know why she was crying so hard. Maybe because nobody had said something like that to her in years. Maybe because it felt like it came from somewhere deeper than just some actor playing a role. Is this some kind of joke? Lisa asked softly. Maria shook her head. No, it feels real. She remembered the way he'd looked at her. Like he knew the weight she carried. Like he saw right through the smile she wore for customers. She opened the check fully. Inside was cash. Too much cash. Lisa gasped. Maria, that's at least $500. Maria covered her mouth again. I don't understand. The door opened suddenly. A man in a soaked jacket stumbled in, frantic. Hey, did someone just leave? Guy with dark hair, leather jacket. Maria nodded weakly. Yeah, he left. The man cursed under his breath. That was Jonathan Roumie. He was supposed to be at the charity event downtown. They've been looking for him everywhere. He just wandered off. Maria blinked. Why would he come here? The man shrugged. He does this sometimes. Goes off alone. Says he feels like God leads him to places. The weight of those words hit her. Lisa whispered, Maria, what if he came here, for you? Maria stared at the note again. The message burned in her chest. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister. Doctor says mom's prescription is $480. We don't have it. Asterisk. Maria looked at the cash again. The exact amount. Her knees nearly gave out. Lisa grabbed her arm. Maria, this is insane. Maria shook her head slowly. No, this is something else. She grabbed her coat, the note still in her hand. I need to find him. Lisa frowned. Find him. Why? Maria's voice cracked. Because I need to know why. She pushed open the diner door into the pouring rain, the note and the money clutched to her chest, searching the empty streets for the man who somehow knew exactly what she needed before she even said a word. Rain soaked through Maria's jacket as she stumbled down the sidewalk, scanning every corner. Her heart pounded louder than the thunder above. She turned into an alley near the bus stop and froze. There he was, Jonathan, sitting alone on a bench, hood pulled up, head bowed like he was deep in prayer. Maria took a shaky breath. Jonathan, he looked up slowly, his eyes held the kind of calm that only made her knees weaker. She walked closer, the note trembling in her hand. Why did you write this? Jonathan studied her for a long moment before speaking. Because he told me to. Who? Her voice cracked. He didn't hesitate. Jesus. The world tilted under her feet. You expect me to believe that? Jonathan's voice was steady. I don't need you to believe me. I just needed you to know you're not forgotten. Maria held out the note, her hands shaking. This money, this message. You couldn't have known about my mom. About the prescription. About everything. Jonathan looked at the ground, rain dripping from his hood. I didn't, but he did. Maria's chest ached. Why me? I'm nobody. Just a waitress. Jonathan stood slowly, meeting her eyes. You're his. That's enough. She couldn't breathe. He continued softly, sometimes he uses strangers to tell us what we've been begging to hear. I was supposed to be at a stage tonight. But instead, I ended up here. Maria's tears mixed with the rain. And you just listen to a voice. Jonathan smiled faintly. It's not always a voice. Sometimes it's just a feeling. A nudge. But tonight, it was clear. He paused, studying her trembling hands. What's her name? Your mother. Angela, Maria whispered. Jonathan nodded slowly, like he was etching it into his heart. I'll pray for her. And for you. Maria shook her head in disbelief. You don't even know us. Jonathan's eyes softened. I don't need to. He does. A bus roared past, splashing water across the curb. Maria clutched the note to her chest, staring at him like he wasn't real. I don't know what to say. Jonathan looked past her, toward the dark clouds breaking in the distance. You don't have to say anything. Just don't forget this moment. Because he doesn't. For the first time in years, Maria felt something breaking inside her. Not the usual breaking, the kind that comes with loss and exhaustion. This felt like the breaking of chains. She whispered, almost to herself, maybe he really does see me. Jonathan smiled faintly. He always has. The rain slowed to a drizzle. Somewhere far off, thunder rolled one last time and faded. Maria realized she was trembling for a different reason now. Because for the first time in so long, she felt hope. The next morning, sunlight spilled through Maria's thin curtains for the first time in weeks. She sat at the small kitchen table, her mother Angela stirring tea beside her. The prescription bag sat on the counter, paid for in full. Angela studied her daughter carefully. You look different. Maria smiled faintly. I feel different. Angela tilted her head. Because of that man. Maria nodded slowly. Because of what he said. Because of what he gave. But more than that, because of what it meant. Angela reached across the table, taking her daughter's trembling hands. Maybe it was just kindness, Maria. Maybe people still care. Maria shook her head. It was more than kindness, Mom. He knew things he couldn't have known. Things I never told anyone. It was like God himself was speaking through him. Angela's eyes softened. Do you believe that? Maria hesitated. She thought about the rain, the note, the words that had cut through all her anger and fear. Yes, she whispered finally. For the first time in a long time, I do. Later that day, Maria walked back into the diner for her shift. The air smelled like coffee and frying bacon, the usual clatter of plates echoing off the walls. But something in her felt brand new. She pinned her name tag onto her apron with steady hands. The manager waved from across the room. Hey, you okay? Heard about last night. Guy leaves you a big tip or something. Maria smiled, shaking her head. It wasn't about the money. Then what? Maria glanced toward the window, where sunlight streamed in like a promise. It was about hope. Her coworker raised an eyebrow. Hope? Maria nodded slowly. Yeah, I think I finally found some. That evening, as the sky turned orange, Maria sat on the same bus stop bench where she had found Jonathan the night before. He wasn't there this time. Only the wind, the fading sunlight, and the sound of her own thoughts. She pulled out the note from her pocket, its edges now worn from being held so tightly. The words were simple. You are seen. You are loved. Never give up. Asterisk. Maria traced the letters with her fingertip, tears filling her eyes again. But this time, they weren't from pain. She didn't know where Jonathan had gone. Maybe she would never see him again. But what he left behind was bigger than one night, bigger than one note, bigger than one waitress struggling to keep her life together. It was faith. It was the reminder that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't alone after all. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Maria closed her eyes and whispered into the cooling air, "Thank you." And for the first time in years, she meant it.